Wow.
Wow, this is some really deep stuff.
I don't know what just happened, but something happened inside of me. Something snapped, something sick.
I wasn't expecting that
either. Sorry.
It's okay. It's all right. It's beautiful.
Monster is like really small, but it had to become that to stop me.
And then the hurt child became present when you mentioned it.
And I didn't realize this until now.
There were things that I didn't remember until now.
Funny, I haven't seen that before.
It feels like I'm the monster. I'm kind of seeing images of things, of a world where they can exist. This clarity brings all kinds of answers.
It's clear. She hugged me and then went back to her place, I guess, in my heart. Oh, it wants to come out. It wants to bippity boppity boop Cinderella me. She's melted into my chest. It's ooey gooey.
All week been finishing things, cleaning up more, started eating vegetables again last week. And it kind of just started happening. It's almost like I just finished going through a meditation session.
I feel light. When you hit that first joint, in the morning, and
I actually feel a lot more awake.
Okay. Do you have any parts that you'd like to get to know better or change your relationship with?
I think what I'm circling around today is a part that has fear and apprehension around some changes that I'm making. I am now on day 14 of not using marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also really strongly considering taking a very long break from any drinking as well.
Mm-hmm.
The marijuana was more of a frequent thing. But I've just been kind of researching and learning a lot about the effects of various substances and just feeling this really strong pull to find out how it is to be without all of them.
Yeah.
But there's this part that is has this fear that seems silly, but it keeps coming up that I'm going to be boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that's the one I want to snuggle up to today.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I don't know if it's that same part, but that topic came up last time we talked. The idea of, being interesting and being energetic.
Mm-hmm.
That came up. Okay, so a part that is pulling you to be without the substances, and then this fear, apprehension of being boring without them.
Or even seeming boring, or I don't know, just the social sort of awkwardnesses of those kinds of changes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And where do you notice that part when it comes up?
I'm going to say right now, when I try to find a physical sensation, I'm coming back to the base of the skull again.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of back of head feeling.
And how do you feel towards it as you notice it?
Just curious mostly.
Great. Can you extend that curiosity to it? Let it know that you're curious, invite it to the conversation.
Okay.
And then try asking it what it wants you to know.
I have the hard time sometimes. And it's weird because when I've done this on my own, I don't seem to have as much of a problem, but I have some sort of a hard time deciphering if I'm thinking the answers into existence or if they're really coming from the parts.
Okay, that's good to look out for.
Yeah. So I'm going to just kind of try to dismiss, or not dismiss, but to ask, the big thinker to kind of give me a little bit of space. I think what I'm getting when I try to get to that part it's a mix of it wanting to have something in place of those experiences. If, like if you're taking something away, then something interesting needs to be added.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also kind of circles a little bit around my relationship with my best friend, because we just have a tendency to to do those things together. And this kind of clinging to that, and just like a fear of it changing in a way that feels less fun and free and whatnot.
Right. And would that be because you've become boring? I mean, are those two related, or does that seem like another concern it has?
Yeah, that's the way that I speak it. When I speak of it as like I'm about to become boring, and I say it in a joking way, but also I don't know. There's this. It's like, in order to feel as though I'm really looking after myself in the ways that I aspire to, there's just like a sort of a cutting out of a lot of things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just because that is what came up first, is the concern about being boring. I was just wondering if if the loss of the relationship or the change of the relationship with the friend was like due to that, or if that was kind of a third concern that it had. It's not necessarily important to tease that out.
I think part of it with my friend is that there's a fear that that she won't feel as comfortable just doing what she wants to do and be in my midst if I am doing things that are not similar, and how that might sort of alter the conversational pathways and things that we are very good at.
Yeah. Okay.
And then there's, like the trying to create more structure is always a problem for me. There's always a piece that wants that and a piece that just it's like boring. Like
Right.
structure is boring somehow.
Right. Okay. Does that part that wants to create the structure, does that feel like it's trying to get in to the conversation now? Is that a part to ask for space?
I don't think it's trying to get in. It's just like in my mind, I'm thinking, this is where it's coming from. Like this trying to get kind of serious about some things. And then there's the resistance to that. Like somehow serious and intentional and structural is not fun. And I think that's the part that's like, no, it's going to be boring. And
okay, check that out with the part.
Scared of the boring.
Check that out with the part. If that interpretation or what you're seeing, it kind of conflicting with the structural part is hard for it.
Yeah, it is hard.
Okay. And does all this make sense to you, what it's saying about wanting something in place of those things and the concern around the friendship?
Yeah, it's like if you're going to take away these things, then you better find some other fun stuff for us to do. Mm-hmm. Like you can't take away those things and then just put like these like bedtime routines and these other things and not find some new interesting experience to have.
Yeah. Okay. So it's looking out for those interesting experiences and it's looking out for the maintaining of the relationship, or it has concerns about the changing of the relationship.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Could we just learn more about those concerns and if there's any kind of fear, what the fear is behind those?
The fear, I think, is like loneliness. Mm-hmm. Or it keeps circling back to just like sameness, boringness, sort of a lack of sort of flair or humor, which is okay. So I'm noticing that I'm trying to tell the part that it's stupid or something, because when I said that, I was like, there's no way that I can exist without humor. That wouldn't happen no matter how many bedtime routines I had.
Okay, yeah. So the part said I'm concerned about you being humorless, and then you felt another part coming up saying, well, that's dumb, right? I wouldn't allow that. Great catch.
Okay, so I don't know what to call that part, but we're just going to call it the judging part or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It needs to be asked for space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay.
This part had mentioned loneliness, and it also mentioned boringness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just resists sameness, like everyday sameness, or I'm told again and again that structure is really good for the kind of brain that I'm navigating, but I just have such a problem with it.
Yeah.
Not only because I struggle to create it, but because I struggle to embrace it.
Right.
And I feel like this part is like, it's not fun. It's,
Yeah.
Hmm.
So can you find some appreciation for that part in looking out for those things?
Yeah.
Those trying to avoid the loneliness and avoid the boringness?
Absolutely.
And how does it react to you just being with it and appreciating it?
It's happy about that.
Great. What would it rather be doing if it didn't have to work so hard, if it didn't have to get your attention through fear, let's say?
What would I rather be doing?
Yeah.
The words that come are just having fun, of course. Like, I would rather be having fun. Yeah.
And does it have more that it wants to show you about that, or what that would look like?
I feel like it's saying if you're taking away these easier ways of having fun, then you're going to have to plan. Like, I'm interested in like kayaking and things like that, and I don't get around to those things. It's kind of
requires
saying
planning.
Yeah, you're going to. Yeah, it's saying you're going to have to find new ways to make fun, or else, we're just gonna turn to stone or something.
Yeah. And does it trust that you would do that or could do that? Or how's its level of trust around that?
I think it's a cautious, like one eyebrow up sort of trusting.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I think you're capable of that, but I'm not sure that you'll do it, sort of trust. Like, I believe that it believes that I could, and that it's questioning whether I will.
Yeah. Yeah. Earlier when it had mentioned this feeling of loneliness, does that feel like exile kind of feeling to you?
Yeah. When I say it, or when I said it then, at least, there was kind of a trembly child sort of feeling underneath it or near it or something that doesn't feel quite as sort of rational and adult as the other things that it seemed to have to say.
Yeah. That's what I was picking up on too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So what direction would you like to go with this part? Would you like to, and you can check it out with it, talk more about building that relationship around planning the fun, those kind of things, or offer it and see how it feels about you going to work with that exile?
Okay.
And we could also do both.
Both sounds good.
Yeah.
Generally, if you give me a this, that, or both, I'm going to probably choose both. It's the way
they're both important.
In general, yeah.
Yeah, one is kind of this part's, its concerns, its concern about having fun.
Yeah.
And then the other is sounds like an exile. So they both deserve your attention.
Okay.
So which way first?
I think the loneliness piece more than the figuring out how to have fun part.
Okay. All right. Check around if this part or any other parts feel like they have objections, concerns about you going there.
Yeah, there's the piece. I think it was, I say piece sometimes, part sometimes, but there's the part sometime, the same as last time, that's like, oh God, here we go again with the like strong emotions. There's a part that wants to stop with all of that, as far as diving into things that are emotionally intense.
Okay. Now, how are you responding to that part?
I'm responding in a way that says, I totally get it, but like, you know that this is the way it is. I guess I don't, to that part, I don't feel like 100% embracing or, you know, just like, oh, be quiet, you know, get out of the way, which I know isn't helpful.
Right. Yeah. And, you know, it's concerns. I mean, these concerns are really important to make sure that the work is safe and that you're not, you know, disturbing more than, not disturbing the ecosystem. So, yeah, maybe the part that wants it to shut up, maybe we can ask that part to step back and just see what other concerns, you know, what is this part concerned about happening if you go to the emotional place? Yeah.
When I check in on that, it's like what I get is I'm not afraid that it's unsafe. I'm just tired of like exposing all of this sort of, you know, like I'm not afraid that it's unsafe. I'm afraid of, and it's weird because it's just you and I don't even know you, but like I'm afraid of other people's opinions.
Okay. Yeah. So that's the main concern when it talks about exposure is other people's opinions, other people's judgment.
Yeah.
Does that make sense to you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. We could find ways to navigate that and limit that as much as possible. Just some things coming to my mind are, you know, you don't have to share anything that comes up in you with me. And none of this has to be shared with anyone else.
Right.
And I won't have judgment or anything around that if you decide not to share it.
Mm-hmm. What I get from it is kind of like an okay, like not an enthusiastic, you know, not an I'm excited about this, but like, all right, fine. If you want to, go ahead.
Yeah. Do you want to?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And yeah, let it know it can jump back in if it has concerns, if we're going too deep or anything feels overwhelming.
Okay.
Great. So the trembly child.
Mm-hmm.
Do you notice where that comes up in or around your body?
Unsurprisingly, in my throat and the corners of my eyes.
Okay. What else do you notice about it?
I want to say like it's often trying to get my attention, often feeling often feeling kind of pushed away by the like other parts, you know, let's not go there, let's not show this, why are you doing this, all of that. It's kind of tired of that.
Yeah. And how do you feel towards it as you hear that from it?
A little bit remorseful in a way.
like not guilty, but remorseful. Just like, oh yeah, I do let all of those other parts,
Yeah.
kind of pave over you or
Right.
cause me to want you to not be there.
Right. Yeah. Which is totally normal. That's how it works with exiles, right? Yeah, so you can let it know that you're sorry, that you see that. You see that dynamic and how it doesn't get the attention.
Okay.
How's it respond to that?
Positively. It's weird because when I try to see this part, it's almost as though it's like a kid with an adult face or something. It's me. It's a version of me. It's very strange.
If it feels right, you can invite it to show more of itself to you, or you can just kind of get closer to it, deepen your access in whatever way.
Yeah, it's in a dark place. Meaning like, I don't mean a psychologically dark place. I mean a dark space, but I'm sure that it is also the other as well.
Yeah.
Like kind of like candlelight dimness. Yeah, I think it is a lot like some of the things that we were kind of getting near it last time with the like, I just have big emotions and here I am. And there's like, it's just tired of being told not to.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. And how does it feel for that part as it kind of sees you getting closer, being curious? Is it noticing you?
It's like one moment I'll kind of see myself holding hands with it and like, looking into its eyes. And then the next moment, but my mind shifts a lot very quickly. Images sometimes won't remain steady or constant. In the next minute, it's like it's, kind of turned away from me, curled up in a ball, like that it doesn't trust me. So it's like flipping, almost like, when you, like when people make a sort of a rudimentary cartoon on a Pages book, my words are not coming, and you flip it and it's like, it's
there
just
one
like
moment
flipping.
and
Yeah. Like one moment it's with me and the next moment it's turned away from me and doesn't trust me.
And that's okay. It can show up however it shows up.
Right.
Just let it know that. Let it know you're curious and that you really want to understand it. Maybe just ask how it's been for it.
I think it just is saying that for a very, very long time, it's not been allowed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's it been like for
whether
it
it's internally with other parts, or whether
Right.
it's, growing up with my parents, or, just like not allowed to have big emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. And what's that been like for it?
But pretty shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are you okay with just being with it now? Is it kind of showing you that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, just let it know you're okay. Witnessing that, and that you'd like to know more. You really want to get it. You really want to understand what it's been like for it. You could ask if there are like specific memories, times when it felt, like that was at its worst. It mentioned, it brought up your parents. Anything it wants to show you about that.
I feel like for me, and I don't know if this is some protective thing or if it like is a function of my not great memory, but anything that's further back than like teenage years is usually just tiny little clips as opposed to like a full memory. It's just like sound bites or just a vague notion of something. It's not often, like a scene. And I don't know if I need to see the scene in order to like liberate it.
No, not necessarily. I don't think so.
Okay. So it can
it's
just
kind
be
of
like, this is how people spoke to you, or,
yeah. It's
just
whatever
little
this
bitty,
part is
tiny
carrying
things.
and remembering. So
Okay.
the part, the part can be the authority on that. It's whatever
Okay.
it's dealing with.
Okay. I think I apologize for always having interrupting parts, but I think there's a recurring part for me that always doubts. It always thinks that I'm kind of like skirting around the most difficult part of work like this. Not like, oh, you're avoiding, seeing the full scene or something. And I don't think that that's really true. But there's always this thing that arises that's like, somehow you're skirting around the hard stuff. And I think that's where that's coming from, is like my doubts are coming up in that, you're not seeing it because you're running away from it, as opposed to this is what the part is showing you. And that's that.
Yeah, we can welcome that part too, that has that doubt, because, if that was the case, if you were, closing your eyes to what parts are wanting to show you, or not willing to go places that could hamper your ability to help them. So we can thank that part for its
concerns. Yeah. Okay.
And this is the only way I know to get there,
Like, thank you for your concern, but I'm going to continue to ask not you about this.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to continue to work with the child instead of
this is the way to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and the more you work with that, exile part, if it wants to show you more later, like it can do that,
It's exactly what I was thinking. Like, as long as I keep open with it.
Right.
You
Right.
know, it's going to show what it has to show because that's the whole point of the communion.
Absolutely.
Okay. So then I'll just allow it to be little, you know,
Yep. However it wants to share with
snips
you.
and clips. Okay. Yeah, it seems to, it's not going to. So a lot of the work that I've done with IFS, I see, you know, I'm in a place, I'm in a scene, I'm, you know, there, but this one doesn't feel, it's just more like reproducing feelings. And yeah, like I said, little bitty sound bites and, you know, just things that were kind of directed at it and coming at it. And by it, I mean me, obviously, but yeah. I think the best I can do is just to say, you know, if there are bigger pictures to be shown, I'm here.
That's right. Do you see about how old this part is? Or are those memories around a certain age?
I think pretty small, but as I said, my memory, and I don't think it's trauma or anything, but my memory just gets really spotty and vague in my like youth, like as a kid.
You could just ask the part directly, wait for an answer. And if you don't get one, that's okay.
How old it is?
How old it is, sure.
I get a bunch of answers. If that, I don't know if that makes any sense. But
makes sense if this is something that's been going on for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I'm 3, I'm 5, I'm 10, I'm 27. You know, like maybe that kind of goes along with that idea of it having it looks like a child body part of the time, except the face is like my adult face. It's
strange. I think that's pretty common too, to have kind of multi-age exiles. I don't know if that's 5 different exiles or if it's one with 5 heads, but you know, it comes up.
Okay. Yeah. I think the idea, what it wants to communicate is I've been around for a very long time.
Right.
You know, but I'm not just this 3-year-old. I'm also, you know, other ages.
Is there any more that it wants to show you, let you know, so that you just understand it better?
What I get is something like big feelings. Big feelings make you more alive and more compassionate.
Yeah.
More able to support others who have big feelings. It's just saying, like, stop putting me in the corner.
Yeah. Just let it know that you've seen how these other parts have been relentless in wanting to put it in the corner.
Unsuccessfully, I might add.
Right, because it pops up.
It's always coming out. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always just leaking out of there.
And I mean, how do you feel like when it says these big feelings matter? How is that for you? Is it having to make its case because, there's still parts in you that are saying no, or
Not in this moment,
right.
no.
Right.
But I think
Great.
it's saying that because in my
Right. Yes.
everyday experience, I'm very
absolutely.
often trying
Yes.
to
Great.
squelch it.
So great. The good news is in this moment, you're okay with it as it is.
Yeah.
And that this is possible.
Yeah.
It's possible for you to get other parts to step back and for you to be you in the presence of this part and for it to be it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Does it feel like it's trusting you more?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
Is it still in a dark room with candle lights turned away?
Still in the same place, but not necessarily turned away.
Mm-hmm.
I think it wanted me to see that, like
right.
how lonely that place is.
All right.
But I don't feel that it's turned away from me now.
Yeah. So it trusts you to go into that place with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And usually kind of the next thing that I'm suggesting is to go into a time when it needed someone or into its time. And if you're not detecting a specific time, that's fine. You could go into this place with it. Go into all those times. Just whatever feels right. Joining it, just like it said, in that lonely place and being there for it in the way it needed someone.
Yeah, I can kind of, although I can't get like a scene, when you said some of what you just said, I'm going to try to pick it back up, but it's like takes me to my parents' house for sure.
Okay.
And I think there are some just different little moments where it just wants me to be there.
Yeah.
And maybe even, like tell my mom, hey, it's not cool to talk to a little kid like that.
Yeah. Okay. Can you do that?
Or to use that kind of tone or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Just go back, do that.
The images in my mind, as I say, they shift and they change and they go and they go. But when you said that, I saw myself like standing there with like a little kid on my hip,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Try to stay with that.
Yeah. Just telling my mom, like, look at this little kid. What are you doing?
Right. How does a little kid like that?
She seems pretty stoked, honestly.
Excellent.
It's like, yeah.
That's right.
Like when you're a little kid and somebody actually sticks up for you and you're
That's right.
in your face, kind of. Like, the feeling, like there's like some little memories with my dad that are lighter, but like if you're going to cry, go to your room kind of thing. And just like, hey, that's not cool either. I think she's just tired of going to her room. Like,
Yeah.
tired of keeping
that's
her feelings in the room.
Maybe that's another place you can join her, is alone in her room.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having to do some other parts shushing again.
Yeah.
There's always one that's like, this childhood is not that bad, and this is not horribly traumatic, and et cetera, et cetera. But it's like, well, you know what? You're not 3 or you're not 5, and you
That's
don't
right.
get it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We've tried that, having those other parts say, nope, that doesn't matter.
Seriously.
Right.
They're very tenacious.
Right.
There always wants to be one that pipes in and says, like, oh my God, there's so many worse childhoods and blah, blah, blah,
Sure.
It's just true. But I didn't experience those. And this part doesn't give a shit if there was some other worse. Yeah.
That's right. It needed what it needed at the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All it needed was, like a nice tone. And to be allowed to stay in the room while crying.
Mm.
And now, I'm using harsh, or, in my daily life, using harsh tones and trying to shut it into its internal room. So,
yeah, parts.
Yeah, that's a pretty big.
Yeah. Right. Just re-experiencing that pain, loneliness.
Yeah, it's just like I'm just carrying on that torch of shittiness, if you will.
Parts.
Or I was.
What else would this part like to see you do back there with it or for it?
Just hang out and sit on the ground and make eye contact and after telling everyone that it's not okay to be the way that they are being.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. When it feels like that's done, you can invite it out of that time and out of that place and to come be with you anywhere else, anywhere it likes.
The image that I'm seeing is like I'm holding this child. And the adult version of me is like cycling through all these different ages. And the child is now remaining the same.
Okay.
I think it's like, kind of a sort of a reparation of all the different versions of myself that have locked this kid away.
Okay. Yes. So it was parts that locked the kid away. And the fact that you're seeing it instead of being it tells me also that those are parts.
Okay.
If you had the child on your hip, you wouldn't see a person with a child on her hip.
Yeah.
And so
earlier when I was telling, I'm glad you're saying this out loud, because earlier when I was telling, the parents or whatever, I was inside of my body
Right.
holding the kid on my hip. And now
Right.
it's showing me the picture
Mm-hmm.
of all
Yeah.
these various ages of myself holding this kid.
Yes. And I'm guessing that those ages, like you said, they weren't quite doing it right. They were.
No, they
Right.
weren't.
Right. So you can see how these parts over time have all tried to handle this
Yeah.
with varying degrees of efficacy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when you're there, it's all so much more obvious and direct.
Yeah.
So can you get back to that place where it's just you and her?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's other parts we'll need you to, that's
Yeah.
it's all important, it's all related, but
Right.
yeah. So check again if there's anything else that she'd like to see you do for her with her back there. And if not, to invite her to come be with you. To go to a fantasy place. To come out of that time.
Okay. Yeah, she seems happy now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just let her know that you'll keep taking care of her. That she doesn't have to go back. That you've seen all these other parts. That you can stay. You're more aware of them now, right? And you can look out for that. You can recognize that web of parts.
Okay.
Next, you could ask her where she was carrying those feelings, not being allowed to have big emotions, loneliness, where she's carrying those in her body, and how she'd like to give them up.
I think she just wants to. This is getting funny. I don't know what this car is that we're in because it's not a car that I've ever owned, but she's like, let's just drive away from them.
Yes.
And
Go
that's
for
it.
it.
Like, I don't feel like she needs to dump them out of. I've done some stuff where, like, in these images, like this gross toxic stuff came out of my body or the part's body, but she's just like, no, let's just leave. Like, let's
Great.
go.
Great.
She's like done with that.
Okay. Yeah, just check, make sure, I mean, it's fine for her to make that choice.
Yeah, she's like waving, like, bye, goodbye. Let's drive off.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it would be, if you wanted to pick an element, it would be wind or with the windows down, like let
Ask
it blow
her.
off.
Just, is there anywhere in her body?
Mm-hmm.
That's all. If the answer is no, that's fine. Just want to be sure.
Okay. No.
Okay. Great. Do you have a destination for your drive?
I don't. I just feel like the driving is the destination, which very much is in line with me. Like, I like to just drive sometimes.
Yeah. Check it
And
all out with her.
Yeah.
Let her know that it's up to her and that those things can change over time. And if not, that's
Yeah.
fine. Just whatever feels right for her.
Yeah, she just seems to want to go for a ride.
I just had a device come on in the background. It's kind of noisy, so I'm going to turn it off. Okay. So she's feeling good.
Yeah. She has
Okay.
sunglasses, pigtails. It's fun times.
All right. Now you could invite in some of those parts that were being hard on her, that were concerned, that were trying to take care of her. Any of those parts.
They have to sit in the back seat, she says.
That's great. Just invite them to notice how she's doing.
Okay.
And who she is when she's with you.
Yeah, she's like looking into the back seat, giving like a little thumbs up to them.
Yeah. And you can check with them if they have any ways that they'd like to revise their roles or just any comments from them.
Nothing in words. Some of them are just like looking out the window and stuff.
Sounds nice.
I like giving her a thumbs up back, like, yeah, all right.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, you've done this work, and so you know the importance of
Checking in.
staying connected in whatever way works for you and her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can negotiate that now or later, or if it feels just whatever works for you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, how's it all feeling?
It's good. Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah.
Definitely.
It's all feeling very good.
Great.
Funny scene. Don't know whose car that is, but we'll be revisiting.
Yeah, these young parts tend to be very creative.
Yeah, she had like these little sunglasses. Yeah, it was very cute. If I see some sunglasses like that anytime soon, I'm going to buy them.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay. Any other parts have any questions, concerns? Anything else?
No, I think the rest of them are pretty quiet right now, which is very unusual.
All right.
Yeah. We're good.
Let me know how it goes.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a nice night.
Hey, you too. I appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Do you want to help bring more self-energy to the world? If you'd like to participate in calls or help out with this project in any way, I'd love to hear your ideas. Join the Discord server or contact me at james@liveifs.com. A huge thanks to our audio engineer, Yvonne, for your care and diligence in editing the calls. To every caller for your courage in sharing some of your parts. And to anyone out there getting to know their internal system, keep going. Who knows, that might be the most selfless, helpful thing you can do for others, and you're the only one who can do it. If you'd like to see us reach the largest audience, we must please the almighty suggestion algorithms at iTunes and YouTube. And they don't care about the power of IFS. They're looking for likes and shares and comments, and the sooner the better. Follow the links in the show notes right here in your podcast player to make your wishes known. And now, a minute of meditation. Or if you prefer, pull over You can do it in 60 seconds. Just click one of those links. They're right there, and give us a like or a 5-star rating. It would really help. If you think this project is helping people, you're helping people by sharing it. Thank you.